The sterile scent of antiseptic filled the hospital room, blending with the soft cries of newborns from down the hall. Olivia Parker lay in bed, her body exhausted but her heart full. She had just given birth to her son. It should have been the happiest moment of her life, but something felt off. She wasn't alone. Sitting by the window, casually sipping coffee, was Sophia Reed, her best friend, and standing beside her, murmuring in hushed tones, was Nathan Parker, Olivia's husband. At first glance, nothing seemed out of place. Sophia had been Olivia's closest friend for years, and Nathan had been the man she had trusted with her heart. But Olivia wasn't stupid. She had spent months noticing the little things. The way Nathan's touch had grown colder, the way Sophia always seemed to be around when Olivia wasn't, the way their glances lingered just a second too long. And now, as she watched them exchange a look, one filled with something almost intimate, Olivia felt a familiar unease creeping up her spine. Something was wrong, and she was about to find out just how deep the betrayal ran. Nathan should have been by her side, holding their newborn son, whispering words of love and support. Instead, he stood across the room, barely sparing Olivia a glance. "You should rest," he said, his voice devoid of emotion. "You need your strength." It wasn't a suggestion. It was dismissive, almost as if he wanted her out of the way. Sophia, ever the actress, put on a sympathetic smile. "Nathan's right, Liv. You must be exhausted. Let us take care of things for you." Something about her tone made Olivia's stomach twist. She should have been grateful. Sophia had always been so helpful, too helpful. She had stayed close throughout Olivia's pregnancy, always offering advice, giving unsolicited opinions on baby names, hovering around Nathan whenever Olivia was too tired to notice. At first, Olivia had chalked it up to excitement. Now she wasn't so sure. She was still too weak to argue, so she simply nodded, allowing her heavy eyelids to close. But she wasn't asleep. Not even close. And that's how she heard everything. The moment they thought she was unconscious, Nathan and Sophia started talking. "We need to be careful," Sophia whispered. "She's starting to suspect something." Nathan scoffed. "Olivia? She's clueless. She has no idea what's happening." Olivia's fingers curled into the bedsheet. "Still," Sophia murmured, "we can't afford any mistakes. This has to be perfect. I want that baby, Nathan, and I want you." The air left Olivia's lungs. Did she just hear that correctly? "You'll have both soon," Nathan reassured her. "She's too weak right now to do anything, and once the baby is misplaced, she won't have a reason to stay." Olivia's blood ran cold. They were planning to take her child. This wasn't just an affair. This was a calculated betrayal. She wanted to scream. She wanted to jump out of bed and tear them apart, demand to know how long this had been going on, how long they had been plotting behind her back. But she forced herself to stay still, to keep listening. Because now, she wasn't just a wife who had been cheated on. She was a mother whose child was in danger, and she would not let them win. Sophia let out a soft, pleased sigh. "I can't wait for us to finally be together. No more sneaking around, no more pretending. Just us and the baby." "Just a little longer," Nathan assured her. "Once Olivia is out of the picture, we can finally have the life we deserve." The life we deserve. The words clawed at Olivia's heart, but rage burned away the pain. She had loved Nathan. She had trusted Sophia. And this was how they repaid her? A plan to steal her baby and throw her away like she was nothing? Olivia's entire body trembled with rage, but she kept her breathing steady, forcing herself to stay quiet. Because this wasn't the moment for an outburst. No, this was the moment she vowed revenge. Nathan and Sophia thought she was weak. They thought she would be too fragile, too heartbroken, too helpless to stop them. They were wrong. Olivia Parker was no one's victim, and she was about to show them exactly how dangerous a woman scorned could be. Olivia had never felt so trapped. Lying in her hospital bed, still recovering from childbirth, she watched as Sophia Reed moved around the room like she belonged there. The woman had no shame. None. She fluffed Nathan's pillow. She reached for his arm when she spoke. She even had the audacity to adjust the swaddle on Olivia's baby, as if she were the mother. And Nathan, he let her. No worse. He encouraged it. "Liv, you really need to rest," Nathan said, glancing at her like she was nothing more than a fragile inconvenience. Sophia smiled sweetly, placing a hand on Nathan's shoulder as if she had every right to. "He's right, Liv. You've been through so much. Maybe it's time to start thinking about what's best for the baby." Olivia gritted her teeth. "What exactly are you implying?" she asked, keeping her voice steady. Sophia tilted her head, feigning innocence. "Nothing, of course. It's just... you're so exhausted. And Nathan and I are always here to help. I mean, what are best friends for? Best friend." The words tasted like poison. Sophia wasn't here to help. She was here to replace her. And Olivia was done pretending not to notice. The next morning, Olivia pretended to sleep as she listened. Nathan and Sophia sat by the window, their voices low but not low enough. "I think she's getting worse," Sophia murmured. Nathan let out a heavy sigh. "She's been distant, barely talking." "Exactly," Sophia said softly. "She's not herself, Nathan. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she's not fit to be a mother right now." Olivia's blood ran cold. This wasn't just an affair. This was a setup, a plan to make her look unstable, unfit. They weren't just after Nathan's freedom. They were after her child. "You deserve more than this," Sophia continued, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "A woman who understands you. A partner who isn't constantly falling apart." Olivia tightened her grip on the bedsheet. Nathan didn't argue. He didn't say Olivia was his wife, that she was the mother of his child, that he loved her. He just sat there, silent, and in that silence Olivia got her answer. Nathan was already gone. That afternoon, Sophia hovered. "You should let me hold him," she said, reaching for Olivia's newborn son without asking. Olivia barely held back a snarl. "I've got it." Sophia pouted. "Liv, you're exhausted. Let me help." "Help?" Sophia wasn't helping. She was pushing boundaries. Olivia's heart pounded as she watched Sophia cradle her baby, swaying like it was already hers. "He looks so much like Nathan," Sophia whispered, a sick smile curling on her lips. "Don't you think?" Something snapped inside Olivia. She forced herself to smile, despite the rage burning beneath her skin. "Yes," she said evenly. "But do you know who he really looks like?" Sophia blinked. "Who?" Olivia leaned forward, eyes sharp as a blade. Sophia's fake smile faltered. For the first time, Olivia saw it, a flicker of fear. Good, let her be scared. Because Olivia Parker wasn't going anywhere, and she sure as hell wasn't losing her child to a snake like Sophia Reed. Olivia knew she couldn't confront them yet, not without proof, not without a plan, so she did what they never expected. She smiled. She let Sophia stay close. She let Nathan believe she was weak, broken, blind to the truth. Because while they thought they were winning, Olivia was preparing for war. The moment Olivia Parker realized she wasn't just fighting for her marriage, but for her child, everything changed. This wasn't about betrayal anymore. This was war. Sophia Reed had crossed a line that Olivia never thought possible. She wasn't just after Nathan. She was after her baby. And Olivia would rather burn everything to the ground than let that happen. But first, she needed proof, because if she played her cards right, she wouldn't just stop them. She would destroy them. Olivia sat alone in her hospital bed that night, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. Nathan was asleep in the chair beside her, completely unaware that his wife was planning his downfall. Across the room, Sophia had finally left for the night, but her presence still lingered like a sickness. For the past few days, she had watched them carefully, memorizing their behaviors, their glances, their hushed conversations. Sophia was getting bolder, acting as if she had already won. Nathan was growing colder, distancing himself more and more, as if waiting for the moment Olivia would finally break. They thought she was weak. They thought she was too fragile to fight back. They were wrong. She pulled out her phone, her fingers shaking, but not from fear, from pure calculated rage. She had already researched private investigators the night before. Now it was time to make the call. "Mr. Carter?" she whispered. A deep voice answered. "Speaking." Olivia's grip tightened. "I need you to find out everything about my husband and my so-called best friend, and I need it fast." A pause. Then the investigator spoke, his voice calm and professional. "Understood." She hung up, her heart pounding in her chest. She had just taken the first step toward exposing them, and there was no turning back. The next morning, Olivia played her role perfectly. She smiled at Nathan. She thanked Sophia for helping. She let them think she was blind. But when Sophia stepped out of the room, Olivia turned to her nightstand and grabbed her second phone, the one Nathan didn't know about. A message from the investigator was already waiting for her. "Carter, I have something. Meet me in 2 hours." Olivia's heart slammed against her ribs. She needed an excuse to leave the hospital. "Nathan," she said sweetly, forcing exhaustion into her voice, "I feel a little restless. Can you get me some fresh air?" Nathan barely looked up from his phone. "Sophia can take you." Olivia's nails dug into her palm, but she forced herself to smile. "No, I just need a moment alone. Please?" Nathan sighed like she was a burden, then nodded. "Fine, just don't take too long." She bit back the urge to say, "Don't worry, soon you won't have to deal with me at all." Olivia sat across from Carter in a quiet cafe, her hands clenched into fists beneath the table. "Tell me everything." The investigator slid a folder toward her. "Your instincts were right." Olivia's stomach twisted as she opened it. Inside were printed screenshots of messages between Sophia and Nathan, messages that confirmed her worst fears. "Sophia, are you sure she won't suspect anything? She's too exhausted to notice. Once the baby is with me, she won't have a reason to stay. It has to look natural. No drama, no questions." Olivia's breath hitched. They had planned everything. Her hands trembled as she flipped to the next page. Bank transactions. Nathan had been sending Sophia money for months, paying for her expenses, covering costs that Olivia had never noticed before. And then, the final, devastating piece of evidence. A recorded phone call between Sophia and someone from the hospital. Carter pulled out his phone and pressed play. "This is Sophia Reed." Her voice came through, sickly sweet. "I just need to confirm a few details about the newborn in room 207. There's been a little mix-up." The nurse's voice followed. "I'm sorry, ma'am, we can't disclose patient information." Sophia laughed softly. "Oh, don't worry. I'm family, and soon I'll be the baby's mother anyway." The recording ended. Olivia felt sick. Sophia had actually tried to change the hospital records. She wasn't just stealing Olivia's husband, she was stealing her child. Olivia closed the folder, her heart pounding, but her expression unreadable. Carter studied her. "What do you want to do next?" For a long moment, Olivia said nothing. Then she lifted her head, and when she spoke, her voice was ice cold. "Destroy them." Carter nodded. "I'll get you everything you need." Olivia stood, taking a slow breath. She had spent months watching her marriage crumble, feeling powerless. She had spent weeks suffocating under the weight of Sophia's presence, pretending not to notice. But now she was in control. She walked out of the cafe with one thought in her mind. Nathan and Sophia thought they had won. They had no idea what was coming. The hospital air felt thicker now, suffocating. Every breath Olivia Parker took was laced with rage and calculation. She had the proof. She had the messages, the bank transactions, and the recorded call that proved Sophia Reed had attempted to swap her child. But she wouldn't expose them yet. No, that would be too easy. They thought they had her trapped. They thought she was weak. They thought they had won. But what they didn't know? Olivia was about to make them destroy themselves. That morning, Olivia pretended everything was normal. She smiled at Nathan, let Sophia hover, and played the part of the exhausted, helpless wife. And just as she expected, they grew bolder. "You look so tired, Liv," Sophia cooed, brushing fake concern into her voice. You need to focus on recovering. Maybe Nathan and I can handle the baby for a little while?" Olivia gritted her teeth. Sophia wasn't even hiding it anymore. Nathan placed a hand on Olivia's shoulder. It was meant to be comforting, but his touch felt like poison. "She's right," he said, voice smooth but detached. "You've been through a lot. Maybe you should let us take over for a few days." A few days? They really thought she would just hand over her child to them. Olivia forced a smile, masking the disgust crawling under her skin. "That's actually a good idea," she said softly. Sophia's eyes lit up, excitement flickering in them for just a second before she schooled her features into fake sympathy. "Of course, Liv," she said sweetly. "You know we only want what's best for you." Olivia let them think they had won, but they had just walked into her trap. That evening, Olivia finally struck first. She sat upright in her hospital bed, staring at Nathan and Sophia, her heart hammering. It was time. "I need to talk to both of you." Nathan, who had been scrolling through his phone, barely looked up. "What's up?" Sophia leaned in, concern dripping from her voice. "Everything okay, sweetie? Lying snake." Olivia reached under her pillow and pulled out the printed copies of the messages. Then she tossed them onto Nathan's lap. Silence. Nathan frowned, picking up the first page. As his eyes scanned the words, his expression twisted. Confusion, then panic, then something dangerously close to fear. Sophia, meanwhile, went pale. What is this?" Nathan muttered. Olivia leaned forward, her voice deadly calm. "It's proof. Proof that my so-called best friend has been sleeping with my husband. Proof that you've both been planning to take my child from me." Sophia sputtered, grabbing one of the pages. This isn't real." Olivia tilted her head. "Oh, but it is." She pulled out her phone and pressed play. The recording of Sophia's call to the hospital staff filled the room. "This is Sophia Reed. I just need to confirm a few details about the newborn in room 207. There's been a little mix-up." Nathan stiffened. Sophia's hands shook, but Olivia wasn't finished. She played the second recording, the one where Nathan had agreed to let Sophia take the baby. "She's too weak to fight back," Nathan's own voice came through. "Once the baby is with Sophia, Olivia won't have a reason to stay." The room exploded into chaos. "Liv, this isn't what it looks like." Nathan stood, panic creeping into his voice. "I was just—" "Shut up." Olivia's voice cut through the air like a blade. Nathan flinched. Sophia was shaking now, her eyes darting toward the door like she wanted to run. "You were just what, Nathan?" Olivia snapped, standing now, ignoring the ache in her body. She wasn't weak. Not anymore. "You were just trying to replace me?" Nathan's mouth opened and closed, searching for an excuse. But there was nothing he could say, because Olivia had the truth, and she was holding it right in front of them. Sophia was the first to recover. She took a deep breath, then forced out a laugh, cold, empty, desperate. "Liv, you're being dramatic," she said, smoothing her hair. "You just had a baby. Maybe your emotions are making you misinterpret things." Olivia smirked. There it was. Gaslighting, the final weapon of a guilty person. "Oh, Sophia," she murmured. "You really think I'd believe that?" Sophia stepped closer. "You're exhausted, Liv. You're not thinking straight. Let's just sit down and—" Olivia held up a hand. "If you take one more step toward me," she said slowly, dangerously, "I will make sure the entire world knows exactly who you are." Sophia froze. Nathan ran a hand through his hair, breathing hard. "Liv, just save it," Olivia snapped. She turned to Nathan, eyes burning. "I loved you." Her voice shook, but not with pain, with fury. "I trusted you, and you threw me away like I was nothing." Nathan looked away because he knew he had destroyed everything. Sophia opened her mouth, probably to lie again, to pretend she wasn't shaking in fear. But Olivia wasn't done. Olivia took a deep breath, forcing herself to stay calm. Then she smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of a woman who was about to ruin them. "But you know what?" she said softly. "I'm not going to expose you." Nathan and Sophia stared. "What?" Sophia stammered. "Not yet." Olivia's voice was almost gentle, which only made it more terrifying. "You're both going to do exactly what you planned." Olivia stepped forward. "You're going to keep acting like you've won. You're going to get comfortable. You're going to let your guard down." Her eyes flashed. "And when you do," she leaned in, voice as sharp as a knife, "I will take everything from you." Nathan swallowed hard. Sophia stumbled back. Because for the first time, they were afraid, and they damn well should be. Sophia Reed believed she had won. Nathan Parker believed he was untouchable. They thought Olivia Parker was too broken, too exhausted, too weak to fight back. And that was their biggest mistake. Because while they were celebrating her downfall, Olivia was preparing their destruction. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about survival. And she was going to make sure neither of them saw it coming. The morning after the confrontation, Olivia put on the best performance of her life. She smiled at Nathan. She let Sophia hover. She pretended to be defeated. "Liv, you're finally up," Sophia chirped, stepping into the hospital room with a coffee in hand. She acted like nothing had happened, as if Olivia hadn't thrown their betrayal in their faces the night before. Typical. Olivia let out a shaky sigh, feigning exhaustion. "I've been thinking," she murmured, keeping her voice weak, unsure. Nathan perked up, his guard dropping immediately. "About what?" Olivia looked down, as if embarrassed. "About what you both said, about me needing help." Sophia barely concealed her smirk. "Oh, Liv," she said sweetly, reaching for Olivia's hand, "we only want what's best for you." Lying, manipulative, snake. But Olivia let her do it, because she wasn't playing defense anymore. She was setting the trap. That afternoon, when Nathan left to make some phone calls, Olivia took action. She grabbed her phone, the one Nathan didn't know about, and sent a single message. "Olivia, it's time. Move everything." Less than 5 minutes later, her lawyer responded. "Mr. Hayes, understood. The transfers will be finalized by tomorrow." Olivia exhaled slowly, controlled. She had spent the last few nights working with her legal team, making sure every bank account, every property, every asset that Nathan had stupidly put under her name was no longer within his reach. He thought she was drowning. In reality, she had just cut off his lifeline. Sophia had grown bolder. Now that she thought Olivia had accepted her fate, she stopped pretending. She walked into the hospital room like she owned the place, touching Olivia's baby without asking, smirking like she had already won. "He's so perfect," she murmured, rocking the newborn gently. Olivia forced herself to smile, even as her stomach twisted in disgust. "I just don't know how you do it, Liv." Sophia sighed. "Motherhood is so exhausting." A pause. Then Sophia's real motive slipped through. "Maybe it's time we talk about long-term plans." Olivia tilted her head. "What do you mean?" Sophia gave her a look of pure condescension. "I just mean, maybe it's best if Nathan and I handle things for a while. You need rest, recovery, and, well," she gave Olivia a pointed glance, "you might not be ready for this." Olivia's rage burned so hot she almost lost control. But she held it in. Instead, she sighed shakily, nodding. "Maybe you're right," Sophia beamed. Nathan, standing by the door, watched with satisfaction, as if he had just won some twisted battle. Fools. They had no idea what was coming. The next morning, Olivia sat across from Nathan in her hospital room, holding the divorce papers in her hands. Nathan had no idea what was in them. He thought they were documents giving him temporary guardianship over the baby. "Are you sure about this?" Nathan asked, barely hiding his eagerness. Olivia nodded, biting her lip like she was uncertain, afraid. I just want what's best for him." Nathan sighed, shaking his head in fake sympathy. "This is for the best, Liv. You need time to heal. You're making the right decision." He had no idea. Nathan grabbed a pen, his eyes filled with victory, and signed. As soon as the ink dried, Olivia stood, the act finally dropping. Her shoulders straightened, her eyes hardened, her voice turned cold as ice. "Thanks, Nathan," she murmured. Nathan blinked. "For what?" Olivia smirked. "For signing over every last cent you had." Nathan froze. His smug expression collapsed, confusion flashing across his face. "What?" he breathed. Olivia picked up the papers, tapping a finger against the tiny but crucial clause hidden in the legal jargon. "You didn't just sign guardianship papers," she said, her voice smooth and sharp. "You signed over all our assets, every bank account, every property, every single thing with your name on it." Nathan went pale. No, this is bullshit." Olivia tilted her head. "You should have read the fine print." Sophia, sitting in the corner, gasped. "Nathan, tell me she's lying," she hissed, panic setting in. Nathan scrambled for the papers, flipping through them, his breathing ragged, and then his entire body stiffened, because it was real. Olivia had just taken everything. Nathan snapped. "You manipulative bitch," he roared, slamming his hands on the table. Olivia didn't even flinch. "You did this to yourself." Nathan shook with rage, his entire face contorted in fury. "I'll fight this," he spat. "I'll take you to court. Olivia chuckled. "Good luck with that," she mused, crossing her arms. "I have recordings, texts, bank statements. Want to explain to a judge why you were plotting to steal our child with my so-called best friend?" Nathan froze. Sophia gasped. And just like that, Olivia watched them crumble. She had won. Nathan Parker had spent years crafting the perfect image. To the outside world, he was the devoted husband, the successful businessman, the man who had it all. But tonight, in a room filled with his family, business partners, and so-called friends, Olivia Parker was about to shatter that illusion into a million irreparable pieces. She had played her role long enough. Tonight, the mask would come off, and Nathan Parker would be ruined. The ballroom was grand, decorated with glittering chandeliers and the polished elegance of old money. Nathan had invited everyone, from high-profile clients to family friends, to celebrate his latest business deal. He thought this would be his night. Olivia was about to make it his downfall. Dressed in a sleek, blood-red evening gown, she walked in with quiet confidence, her every step calculated. People turned to look at her. She could see the whispers forming on their lips, the curiosity in their eyes. Good. Let them wonder, because in just a few minutes they would be talking about nothing else. Across the room, Nathan and Sophia stood together, laughing as if they hadn't spent months conspiring against her. Sophia looked far too comfortable, her hand grazing Nathan's arm like she already belonged to him. Olivia's lips curled into a smirk. Not for long. She made her way toward the center of the room, champagne flute in hand, and with a single clink of her glass against a silver spoon, she had the attention of everyone in the ballroom. "If I may have a moment of your time," Olivia's voice rang out, steady, commanding. The chatter died down. Nathan turned, surprise flashing in his eyes. "Liv, what are you?" Olivia cut him off with a single look. "I'd like to raise a toast," she continued, her gaze locked on him. Nathan forced a smile, likely assuming she was about to be the obedient wife he had always expected her to be. Oh, how wrong he was. She lifted her glass. "To my husband," she said, her voice sweet as honey and sharp as glass. Nathan relaxed, a smug expression settling on his face. A man who has worked so hard for everything he has. Murmurs of agreement. Nathan's chest puffed slightly, eating up the praise. A man so devoted, so loving, so loyal. The last word dripped with venom. Nathan stiffened. Sophia shifted uneasily beside him. Olivia smiled, which is why I'd like to share some special moments that capture just how faithful he's been. And then she pulled out the remote and pressed play. The massive screen behind her lit up, and with it, every dirty secret Nathan and Sophia had tried to keep hidden. The first image flashed. A screenshot of their texts. "Nathan, she has no idea. God, I can't wait to finally be rid of her. Just a little longer. Then we can be a real family." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Nathan's face drained of color. Sophia took a sharp step back, horror dawning on her face. Another image appeared. A photo of Nathan and Sophia kissing in his office. Then another. And another. And another. A full, undeniable timeline of their betrayal unfolding before an audience of hundreds. Nathan snapped. "Turn that off," he roared, striding toward the screen like he could physically erase the evidence. But Olivia wasn't finished. The final blow came in the form of a video. A recording of Sophia's phone call to the hospital. "This is Sophia Reed. I just need to confirm a few details about the newborn in room 207. There's been a little mix-up." The room fell into dead silence. Then, chaos. Nathan turned to Olivia, his face contorted in rage. "You manipulative." "Careful," Olivia interrupted, tilting her head. "You're already losing your temper in front of your investors." Nathan's gaze darted around the room, realizing too late that every eye was on him. His business partners muttering amongst themselves, his family staring at him in pure disgust, his career unraveling by the second. Nathan, one of his biggest clients, Mr. Hawthorne, stepped forward, voice cold. "Is this real?" Nathan opened his mouth, struggling for an excuse, but Olivia had left no room for lies. Mr. Hawthorne sighed, shaking his head. "I don't do business with liars, Nathan." One by one, more voices chimed in. "Neither do I. This is disgusting, absolutely disgraceful." And just like that, Nathan Parker lost everything. His business, his connections, his reputation. Everything he had spent years building, obliterated in one night. And the best part? Olivia didn't even have to lift a finger. She had simply let the truth do the work for her. If Nathan had lost his career, Sophia had lost something far worse. Her delusions. She had spent months believing she had won, that she had outsmarted Olivia, that Nathan would leave his wife and they would live happily ever after. But as she stood there, watching Nathan spiral into a public meltdown, watching his empire crumble in front of her eyes, she finally understood. She had backed the wrong horse. Sophia grabbed Nathan's arm, desperation in her eyes. "Nathan, we need to go." Nathan shoved her away. "This is your fault," he hissed. The betrayal in his voice was almost laughable, as if Sophia hadn't risked everything for him, as if he hadn't whispered sweet promises in her ear only to turn on her the second things went south. Sophia stumbled back, realizing she had ruined her life for a man who was already abandoning her, and as she turned back toward Olivia, rage filled her expression. "You," she started, but Olivia just laughed. "Oh, honey," she murmured, sipping her champagne. "Did you really think you were ever going to win?" Sophia went pale, because she knew she had underestimated Olivia Parker, and now she was paying the price. Nathan Parker had spent years building his empire. He had spent months believing he was in control, and in a single night, Olivia Parker had taken everything from him. Now he was watching his world burn, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. Nathan had barely slept since the disaster at the gala. His phone wouldn't stop ringing, but every call was another loss, another consequence of his own arrogance. His biggest investors? Gone. His business partners? Cut ties immediately. His own father? Disgusted beyond words. "You're a disgrace to this family," his father's voice echoed in his head. "You let a woman outplay you, and now you've lost everything." Nathan had tried to do damage control, but it was too late. The moment the affair went public, his company's stock plummeted. His name was now synonymous with scandal. He walked into his office the next morning, hoping to salvage what he could. But the second he stepped inside, his assistant Emily refused to meet his eyes, and then his worst nightmare unfolded. Mr. Hawthorne, the company's largest investor, stood in the boardroom with a folder in his hands. "Nathan," he said, voice cold, "do you have any idea how much money this company has lost in the last 24 hours? Nathan swallowed hard. "I can fix this." Hawthorne chuckled darkly. "Fix this?" he echoed. "Your reputation is in the gutter. Your business decisions are questionable at best, and you think we'll trust you to lead this company?" Nathan felt his stomach drop. "Please," he started, desperation creeping into his voice. "I just need—" Hawthorne held up a hand. "You're done, Parker." Nathan froze. "Pack your things. You're fired." Silence. Pure, suffocating silence. Nathan had always been the one in control, but now he was nothing. Sophia Reed had always believed she was destined for a luxurious life. She had spent months playing the perfect mistress, manipulating Nathan into believing she was the better choice. But when Nathan lost everything, Sophia realized something terrifying. Without Nathan's money, she was nothing. Her friends, gone. Her carefully crafted social image shattered. And worst of all, Nathan no longer needed her. She had risked everything for him, and now he was leaving her behind. "Nathan," she pleaded, gripping his arm. "You still have savings, right? We can figure this out." Nathan jerked away from her touch, his face twisted in frustration. "We?" he sneered. "There is no we, Sophia." Sophia stared at him, realization sinking in. "You're joking," she breathed. "I gave up everything for you." Nathan let out a bitter laugh. "You gave up everything for yourself," he spat. "And now you're on your own." Sophia felt her world tilt. She had miscalculated. She thought she was the queen of this game, but in reality, she was just another pawn, one that Nathan had no problem discarding. While Nathan and Sophia scrambled to salvage their wrecked lives, Olivia Parker was moving forward. She had spent months enduring their deception. Now she was done playing nice. The moment her lawyer handed her the divorce papers, Olivia felt lighter. "Are you ready?" Mr. Hayes asked. Olivia smiled. "More than ever." She walked into the courtroom with confidence, her head held high. Nathan was already there, looking worse than ever. Gone was the arrogant, untouchable man. In his place was a desperate, broken fool. As the judge read the case details, Nathan glanced at Olivia, his jaw tightening. "Liv," he murmured. "Let's talk about this." Olivia didn't even blink. "There's nothing to talk about." Nathan exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. "This doesn't have to get messy." Olivia tilted her head. "Messy?" she echoed. "Nathan, you already made a mess of everything. I'm just here to clean it up." And clean it up she did. She had all the evidence, the texts, the recordings, the bank transactions, and when her lawyer laid it all out, the judge barely took 5 minutes to reach a decision. Full custody to Olivia. Nathan tensed beside her, his fists clenching. "Liv, you can't." "I can," Olivia interrupted, standing, "and I did." Nathan looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in months, and for the first time he saw the truth. He had spent so long underestimating her, and now she had left him with nothing. Outside the courthouse, Nathan grabbed Olivia's arm. "Liv, wait." She turned slowly, her expression unreadable. "What do you want, Nathan?" His lips parted, but no words came out. Olivia sighed. "You had a wife who loved you." Nathan swallowed hard. "You had a family." He looked away, "and you threw it all away." Nathan's throat bobbed. "I made a mistake." Olivia let out a short, cold laugh. "No, Nathan," she took a step back. "You made your choice." She walked away without another glance. And as she disappeared down the steps, Nathan finally understood. This was his real punishment, not the money, not the company, not the public humiliation. It was losing the only woman who had ever truly loved him. And this time, she wasn't coming back. Sophia Reed had spent her life climbing her way up, stepping on anyone who got in her way. She had convinced herself she was the smarter woman, the better woman, the one who would win in the end. But as she sat alone in her tiny, run-down apartment, clutching a positive pregnancy test in her trembling hands, she finally understood. She had lost everything. Sophia stared at the test, her mind spinning. Pregnant. She was pregnant with Nathan Parker's child. This was supposed to be her dream, wasn't it? She had spent months stealing Olivia's life, whispering in Nathan's ear that she was the right woman for him, that they would have a perfect family together. But now Nathan was ruined, and she was carrying the child of a man who no longer wanted her. Her hands shook as she grabbed her phone. She dialed Nathan's number, her heart hammering. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Then, voicemail. She tried again, and again, until finally Nathan answered. "What do you want?" His voice was cold, irritated. Sophia swallowed her panic. "Nathan, I need to talk to you. It's important." A long pause, then a bitter laugh. "Let me guess," Nathan said dryly. "You need money?" Sophia's stomach twisted. "No, I just found out I'm pregnant." Silence. Cold, heavy silence. Then Nathan sighed loudly. "And that's my problem, because—" Sophia felt her breath leave her. "Because it's yours." Nathan let out a short, cruel laugh. "Not my issue, sweetheart." Sophia's chest tightened. "Nathan, please," she whispered. I can't do this alone." "Then don't," Nathan snapped. "Get rid of it." The words hit her like a slap. "Nathan," she gasped, tears burning her eyes. "I don't care, Sophia." His voice was ice. "I have enough problems. I don't need another one." And then he hung up. Sophia stared at the phone, her hands shaking. Nathan Parker had just abandoned her, and for the first time she had no backup plan. Sophia had always been good at manipulation. She could charm her way out of anything, or at least she used to. Because now, when she reached out for help, no one answered. Her friends had all disappeared, not wanting to be associated with a woman branded as a homewrecker. Her family, who had once bragged about her connections, had cut her off completely. "You made your bed," her sister had snapped. "Lie in it." Her landlord gave her a week to pay her overdue rent, and when she couldn't, she was evicted. Sophia Reed, who had once looked down on Olivia Parker, who had once laughed at the idea of being poor, was now homeless, penniless, and carrying a child no one wanted. She had one option left, one person who might still have mercy on her: Olivia. Sophia stood outside Olivia's new apartment building, her body shaking from exhaustion, humiliation, and sheer desperation. She knocked, once, twice. A few seconds later, the door swung open, and there she was, Olivia Parker. Sophia barely recognized her. She was radiant, her once tired and broken expression now replaced with strength, confidence, and a quiet kind of power. And standing behind her, a man, tall, dark-haired, handsome, Ethan Cole. Sophia's stomach twisted. So Olivia had moved on. So Olivia had won. Sophia felt the tears spill over. "Olivia," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Please." Olivia raised a brow. "Please what?" Sophia sucked in a breath. "I have nothing left. I made a mistake. I was wrong. Please help me." For a moment, Olivia said nothing. Then she laughed. Cold, sharp, unforgiving. "Let me get this straight," Olivia said, arms crossing. "You want me to help you?" Sophia nodded furiously. "Please, Olivia. You destroyed my marriage." Olivia's voice cut through the air like a blade. "You tried to steal my child." Sophia flinched. "I wasn't. You laughed in my face when you thought you had won." Sophia felt her heart pound violently. "But you didn't win, Sophia." Olivia tilted her head, studying her. "And now you're here begging me to fix your life for you." Sophia sucked in a shaky breath. I know I don't deserve it, but..." Olivia smiled. "It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was merciless. You're right, you don't deserve it." Sophia's knees buckled. "Olivia, please." "Goodbye, Sophia." And with that, Olivia shut the door in her face. Sophia collapsed to the ground, sobs racking her body. She had lost. And this time, there was no coming back. Nathan Parker sat alone in a cheap motel, staring at the divorce papers Olivia had left him with. Everything was gone. His company, his money, his reputation, and worst of all, her. He had thought Olivia was weak, that she would never leave him, never fight back. And yet she had destroyed him with nothing but the truth. He had tried calling her, but she never answered. He had tried finding her, but she was gone. Nathan gritted his teeth, staring at his reflection. He looked like a ghost of the man he once was. And maybe that's all he was now, because Olivia Parker had walked away from him, and she wasn't coming back. For the first time in years, Olivia Parker was free. No more lies, no more betrayal, no more Nathan Parker. She had walked away from the ruins of her past, and now she was ready to build something new, something stronger, something untouchable. This was her second chance at life, and she was determined to make it count. Olivia stepped out of her sleek black car, her heels clicking against the marble pavement of one of the most luxurious skyscrapers in New York City. Her skyscraper. Just a year ago, she had left behind everything: her marriage, her city, her old identity. Now, she was Olivia Parker, CEO of Parker Realty Group, one of the fastest-growing real estate firms in the country. People no longer whispered about her as the scorned wife. They talked about her as the woman who rebuilt herself from the ground up. She had taken the money she won in the divorce, every last cent Nathan had signed away without reading the fine print, and turned it into a multi-million-dollar empire. Nathan had thought he was leaving her with nothing. Instead, she had turned his loss into her victory. And now, she was untouchable. It had taken time. Healing wasn't easy. At first, Olivia had woken up every night with nightmares, memories of Nathan's betrayal, Sophia's condescending smirk, the feeling of being trapped in a life she no longer controlled. But little by little, those wounds had healed. She had poured her energy into her work, into building something that was hers. She had stopped waiting for apologies that would never come. Nathan, a forgotten mistake. Sophia, a cautionary tale. They were nothing more than ghosts now, fading, irrelevant, powerless. She had won, and it was time to start living again. The cafe was small, tucked into a quiet street in downtown Manhattan. Olivia hadn't been on a real date in years. Not since Nathan. She had convinced herself that love was a distraction, an illusion, a game she had no interest in playing again. But then, excuse me. A deep, smooth voice pulled her out of her thoughts. She looked up, and for the first time in a long time, she felt something. The man standing in front of her was tall, effortlessly confident, with dark brown hair and piercing hazel eyes that held a quiet kind of strength. "I think you took my seat," he said, smirking slightly. Olivia glanced around, realizing she had accidentally taken the wrong table. She huffed a small laugh, shaking her head. "Guess I did," he chuckled, sliding into the chair across from her instead of taking another table. "I'm Ethan. Ethan Cole." Olivia studied him, expecting the usual arrogance she had grown so used to in men like Nathan. But Ethan was different. His confidence wasn't overpowering. It was steady, unshakable, genuine. For the first time in years, Olivia felt herself relax. She reached out, shaking his hand. "Olivia Parker." Maybe this was nothing. Maybe it was just a conversation between two strangers in a cafe. Or maybe it was the start of something new. Something real. Nathan Parker had once believed himself untouchable. He had the perfect life. A thriving career, a beautiful wife who worshipped him, a mistress who adored him. He thought he had everything under control. But now he had nothing. And the worst part? He had no one to blame but himself. Nathan sat alone in a cheap, run-down apartment, staring at the eviction notice on his kitchen counter. The walls were crumbling, the air smelled like stale alcohol, and the once powerful CEO was now jobless, penniless, and forgotten. He had tried everything to rebuild himself after Olivia destroyed him. But no one wanted to do business with a liar. No one wanted to work with a man who had lost everything because of his own stupidity. His former business partners refused to return his calls. His family wanted nothing to do with him. His father's last words still echoed in his mind. "You're not my son. Not anymore." Nathan gritted his teeth, running a hand through his messy hair. This wasn't how it was supposed to end. He was supposed to win. He was supposed to be the one who walked away victorious. Instead, Olivia had outplayed him, and now he was rotting in his own failure. If Nathan had fallen, Sophia had been completely erased. She had spent her entire life climbing her way to the top, using her charm, her beauty, and her cunning mind to get whatever she wanted. But now, she had nothing left. Nathan had abandoned her. Her so-called friends had turned their backs. And worst of all, she was pregnant, alone and living on the streets. She had tried everything, begging old friends for help, reaching out to anyone who would listen. But the doors never opened. The same people who had once admired her now looked at her with disgust. "Isn't that the woman who tried to steal her best friend's husband? I heard she was pregnant, but the father wants nothing to do with her. She deserves this. She deserved this." The words burned. Sophia sat on the cold concrete, hugging her stomach, feeling the weight of every bad decision she had ever made. She had won the battle against Olivia once, but Olivia had won the war, and now Sophia Reed was nothing more than a cautionary tale. Thousands of miles away, in a sunlit penthouse overlooking the New York skyline, Olivia Parker took a deep breath, now feeling something she hadn't felt in years. Peace. Her past no longer haunted her. Nathan and Sophia, they were relics of another life. She no longer woke up dreading the day. She no longer feared betrayal, lies, or manipulation. Instead, she had a thriving career, a life she built on her own terms, and for the first time someone who truly saw her. "You're thinking too much again," a familiar voice murmured. Olivia turned, meeting Ethan Cole's warm hazel eyes. She smiled, setting down her coffee. "Habit, I guess." Ethan sat beside her, watching her carefully. "You don't have to be strong all the time, Olivia." She inhaled sharply, his words striking something deep within her. Because that's who she had always been, right? The strong one, the one who endured, the one who fought, the one who survived. But now looking at Ethan, a man who had never lied to her, never betrayed her, never made her feel like she had to prove her worth, she realized she didn't have to just survive anymore. She could live. And so, for the first time in years, Olivia Parker let herself fall. Not into pain, not into betrayal, not into heartbreak, but into something real. Something worth trusting again, something worth loving. Nathan Parker spent the rest of his life drowning in regret. Sophia Reed faded into irrelevance, nothing more than a whisper of a scandal long forgotten. But Olivia Parker, she thrived. She loved again. She became everything they swore she never would. And that was the greatest revenge of all. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss any future content.